Hello and welcome back to the Boatyard, where my little fiberglass cabin cruiser Twiggy is still sitting, having been there all winter. We've had floods, we've had high winds, we've had rain, we've had storms, and it's still here and seems to be okay. I just came to check on it. It's still, although it's a beautiful sunny day, it is still too cold to be doing anything involving gluing, so no fiberglassing today. It's about 7 degrees Celsius. What's that? 14, 12, 44 Fahrenheit, something like that. So a little bit too cold to be doing fiberglassing. What I thought I might do, though, is fling everything in the front cabin, which I had put there from the back cabin, fling that out and just get on with a bit more of the sanding I was doing inside all those many months ago. I've had this basic tarp over the back of the boat to keep the rain off, which it has mostly done. What I don't really understand is where all this water is collecting from in here, this trough at the bottom, because if you look at the slope of the back, it is sloped away. So although water can come down there, underneath the tarp, round the channel, and indeed it does, and off the end, as it drips, it should be just dripping straight down. There you go, you saw a drip there, and it's going straight down, not down into the back of the boat. And all this is dry, which doesn't really prove anything, because I suppose the water could have collected a while ago. But I am puzzled. You know, I thought it would just be off here and it was somehow running down, but it's not. It is dripping down. So how is it managing to go sideways onto this and then down to there? I'm really baffled. And it's the same on the right-hand side as well. You've got water, bit of ice. Oh, that's cold. And it's clearly, well, it can only be, because the tarp was there, it can only be running round here and then somehow making its way onto the side and down. And yet the water is at such an overhang, the back is at such an overhang that any drips are going straight down. So how's it going sideways? Am I being really stupid? I mean, that wouldn't be unheard of. However, I'm not here to do any more on the back today. I'm going to go inside. There will be some water in the centre cockpit. I know that because I popped down once before and there was water in there, even with the cover over it. So I'll probably need to do a bit of mopping and then get into that front cabin. Oh, it's all a bit grubby in here. And yep, there's a bit of water and a bit of ice. Some mopping is needed. That is looking a little bit better. Dustpan and brush for the ice, mop for the water. I confess I am a little bit puzzled as to the amount of water getting in here, because obviously condensation is going to form on this canopy, but the canopy looks sound, like it shouldn't be letting rain in, and I can see no obvious places, even where the stitching is and the studs that hold it all together. I can't really see where rain would be coming in, so I'm not sure where all that water has come from, unless it's from the back cabin and come forward, but then the boat is sitting at that kind of angle on the chock, so it should all be going backwards if anything. So again, boats and leaks, I mean, I know that's common, isn't it? And where the hell do they come from? Do you ever find them? But it is annoying. The plan of campaign now is to move all this stuff out the way so that I can get back to doing some sanding. How can such a tiny boat have so much stuff in it? It's ridiculous. This is a bit clearer now. There is a lot of mess, and although I'm going to make new mess with more sanding, I know this sounds a bit mad, but I think I might run the vacuum round so as to get a better idea of where I am, and also it's just going to make me feel better to start with a bit of a tidier environment. It's about 15-20 minutes later. I've done an extensive hoover. I've also taken up the bit of carpet underlay that was in the bottom of the boat, because that was just catching all the bits of stuff that I've been sanding, and it was a nightmare to vacuum. So I've taken that up, and was doing that vacuuming any step of progress towards the refurbishment of the boat? No, not really. But do I feel better for doing it? Yes, considerably. I like things to be tidy. It's just the way my head's wired, and I feel better about coming back here if it doesn't look like a bomb site. And do you know, it's been so long since I did the interior that I'd forgotten quite where I'd got up to. And in fact, if it wasn't for all the condensation, and there is a lot of condensation in here, all the surfaces are just gently damp. But I think, you know, I'm actually at the point, pretty much, apart from under the bow here, I think I am pretty much at the point where I would be able, on a nicer day with less condensation and so on a drier day, to spray on some glue and start putting the insulation and the carpeting in. And once that is done and there is insulation and carpeting on the walls, it's going to look transformed. It really is. And then I can put the seat cushions back in, and this whole front section, as soon as this just stops looking like a sanded, painted bomb site, once there's carpet on that, the trouble I've got is this roof bit, which people with long-term memories will recall, there is damp. This is a bit of reinforcing wood, and water is getting in to that from above. I don't know how, I can't see any cracks in the fiberglass above, but it's getting in, and that wood is sodden. So I need to take my multi-tool and cut out that section, put new fiberglass up there, and then put the strengthening wood up again. There's a lot of condensation and drips and things, which is rather negating me getting on with any sanding, because it's just going to gum up the sanding discs and things. Actually, the ceiling is sodden. I've opened the windows to let a bit more ventilation. I mean, it has a ventilation hatch here, and I can't imagine the whole boat's that airtight, but clearly it's not getting enough ventilation, so I'm going to leave the side windows open. It's not like anyone can get in and nick stuff. There's nothing here to nick. But I think, I'm rambling, aren't I? I'm kind of giving you the stream of consciousness that's going on in my own head as I look around. But I think it might be worse. If I can't do any sanding, I might get the multi-tool out and hack this bit of wood out, because it needs to come out, and that would be a useful thing I can do. Let's do that. Let's get some demolition going on.
Darth Vader rides again. As I am cutting through fiberglass, I thought the mask was a good idea. Right. The other thing I could do with is my earmuffs. Hang on. I think we can safely say it's a bit soggy in there. Rather moist.
You got this wood here, then there's some fiberglass, and then there's more absolutely soaking wood, which must be a kind of skin of the top of the boat. Alrighty then, would you like the good news or the bad news? I'll give you the bad news first, and then we can end on a high. The bad news is I have once again, not for the first time on this boat, drilled through to daylight in my enthusiasm for using the multi-tool. So I've gone through the ceiling. However, that is also the good news, because in doing so I realise that there isn't a second skin of the boat on the roof that I need to fix that could be all soggy. What I was actually finding above that fiberglass was a little ridge that runs around the cockpit area. So what you've got is internal roof, then a bit of wood, then a bit of fiberglass, which is effectively the top of the roof of the boat, but then above that is moulded a little ridge which acts as a lip around the edge of the cockpit on which the windscreen is then placed. So there isn't some huge over-encompassing second skin of wood that I would need to replace, just that very, very, very soggy bit that is that ridge. I'll show you it from above, it makes more sense then. You see that raised bit that the windscreen goes down to? That is fiberglass in a U shape with a wooden core, and that wooden core is soggy. Below that then is this level, which is the top of the boat, which went all the way underneath that ridge, and then below that was the bit of wood that was soggy that I was taking out. I hope this is making some sense. And unfortunately there is the line where I came out thinking, oh no, this whole skin's going to have to come out. And in fact discovering that when I came through to daylight, that meant this is literally just one, not one layer of fiberglass, but it's pure fiberglass. There's no sandwiching of other materials. So here is just fiberglass, which continues on. Then there's this extra bit over the top to make the lip for the windscreen. This is good. I mean, good insofar as other than I now have another hole to the outside that I will need to patch up. But let's face it, there were enough of those anyway, so another one won't make any difference. And from below it now looks like this. So you've got the ceiling here, which is literally just ceiling through to the daylight. Then there was this bit of wood, fiberglass to the ceiling. Having taken that out, you reveal this fiberglass bit here, which was falling off because of the rotten wood underneath it. But this is just that channel which has wood in it as a core. Oh, and look, I've made a new mess. Darn it. I've done a little further excavating, and I think I may have discovered why the wood is getting wet. That, my friends, is a nail banged in from the outside through the fiberglass into the wood. And what is more, notice how the windows have simply been screwed into the fiberglass with seemingly no trace of any sealant of any sort. Presumably people thinking the rain will just magically drip down, but of course it will go in through, past that screw head, through the hole, and into the wood. No wonder it's soaking. That's the only one I've found with any sort of washer or water repelling device around it. All the others are like that. What this now calls for, I think, is a break for lunch, a cup of tea and a sandwich, and then possibly, actually, I might call it a day, because there's only so much excitement I can cope with in terms of taking the thing apart. I might hack a bit more of that soggy wood off and see if I get to a point where any of it is dry, and then call it a day. But hey, it's progress, isn't it? Every little step is progress. I might even hoover up the mess again. I'm having the obligatory flask of tea and sandwich. And of the 3 sandwiches I've got today, only one of them is cheese. I know! Shock horror! But occasionally, just to vary things, I have something else in my sandwiches. Comment in the comments below if you can guess what is in the other sandwich. You're guaranteed to be wrong. Okay, I have totally taken off that one, and it is definitely the screws from the windscreen that are letting all the water in. It wasn't a nail, it is in fact a rusted screw thread, and they're all through there and they're all letting water in. But on the positive, that means it's an easy fix. Just take them out, put some proper sealant guns around the screw heads, and then no more water coming in, hopefully. So that's good. It's good news, yeah. Little bit of work, but fixable. One thing I must get round to doing is taking out the old battery setup. It's just sitting there doing nothing, and the solar charge controller is showing an error. I don't know why, it used to work. But that would be an easy but worthwhile job. And something I am going to do today is take one of these home. This is the lid of the seat locker. It goes underneath the cushion, and it's well, I think it's plywood, and it's a bit rotten, and this is the one that's in the best condition, and the others are even worse. So I'll take that home and I will use it as a pattern and make some new ones at some point. And that is that for the day. I don't know when I'll next be back, but there will be more progress at some point. This is canal time after all. It's mañana, as and when it happens. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.